Morning folks, Cheer here on deadline day. No intro, no point. Let's just get into this. It's going to change an awful lot over the course of the day, I would imagine. There is some stuff that's moving by the looks of things. There's some updates to give you as well. We'll get into that now. Just to let you know, also there will be a deadline day live stream between 10 p.m. and 11 p.m. for the last hour of the window tonight. I might be joined by a couple of people, just working out who that's going to be right now. We'll start off with this and we'll get into it, and we'll start off with the ones to keep an eye on over the course of the day, and it appears to be Conor Roberts and Joe Worrell, with a couple of wild shouts in here as well, a couple of hot takes from some people, and we'll get to that. We'll talk about Conor Roberts first, and according to Mike McGrath, he is saying that this deal is on. He says Leeds are now have opened talks with Burnley, and a deal is progressing for the player, and a deal for Conor Roberts to Leeds United is close. Roberts, another Welsh international, will join up with Joe Rodon and Ethan Ampadu and Dan James to give us 4 Welsh players, all Wales, aren't we? He'd be a good player to bring into the right back position, frees up Archie Gray to move back into the middle of the park. We also gives us more cover there as well. If we need to use Archie there, we've got more than one option, so that's one to keep an eye on. Burnley are said to have already sanctioned the move for the player. He did come off the bench last night, played over 30 minutes against Manchester City, but looks like his future, at least his short-term future, is away from Burnley and with Leeds United instead. Good player, I like Conor Roberts. He is a good player, especially at this level, especially in the Championship. And what has been rumoured before, and we covered this a couple of months back, there's a massive overhaul of the squad expected in the summer should Leeds get promoted. So any kind of permanent deals don't make a lot of sense. Leeds just need to get players in to get them over the line to get back into the Premier League. And then there's a massive overhaul apparently we've already seen it with the young players being let go at the moment, and Leeds cutting their cloth with players that they don't think are going to make it in the next couple of years if they do go into the Premier Division. So there's a big purse in the 49ers expected to be spent in the summer should Leeds get promoted. So get them in on short term in the meantime, and Conor Roberts is one of them. So that's the first one. That it looks like the one that will get done today. If nothing else gets done, Conor Roberts will get done by the looks of things. Moving on to talk about Joe Worrell. This came up a couple of days ago. Team Talk believe that Leeds and Sheffield United have both now submitted a loan offer for Joe Worrell. Forest are said to be holding out for a permanent sale for the player. They're looking for about £6 million for the player. Leeds won't, because of what I literally just said, Leeds won't be buying players for any kind of money, especially players like Joe Worrell. He'll do a job for Leeds in the Championship and might do a job in the bottom half of the Premier League, but Leeds have aspirations have been higher than that when they get there. So what it does go on to say is that he is out of favour in Nottingham Forest. He hasn't played an awful lot this season. The 27-year-old has over 220 appearances for Nottingham Forest. He's a centre-back, more so than anything else. So whether Leeds need that, does it mean Pascal Stroke's injury is slightly worse? Does it free up Liam Cooper to move away to Blackburn on deadline day after Leeds saying that nobody else in the core group was going? We don't know yet. I don't think that that's a runner. Besiktas are also said to be interested in the player as well, so that's more for me. I think that was a backup in case Charlie left. Doesn't look like that's happening now, so that's that one out of the way. One that's come up today that is miles out of left field. And this has come up from Give Me Sport, Alex Crook at Give Me Sport. And with TalkSport, Alex Crook is saying that Leeds United may turn their attention to Mason Holgate now that Ben Godfrey appears to be off the table. The interesting bit about this is Mason Holgate's on loan at Southampton at the moment, and what Alex Crook is saying is he's not getting a huge amount of game time there. He's probably more beneficial to Leeds. They could cancel the loan that he's got at Southampton and recall him and then loan him back out to Leeds. That could be done pretty quickly. It's very unlikely for me. I think it's a wild swing at a story. I could be very wrong. This could end up being one that gets done before midnight or before 11 o'clock tonight, the deadline. All Alex Crook has said on this is he believes Mason Holgate is one to keep an eye on with Leeds. So we'll keep an eye on it. But I don't see that one happening. I think it's a wild swing from Alex Crook. But I could be wrong. I could be very wrong. It's an interesting one. Mason Holgate's not a bad player. I'm surprised he's not getting as much minutes at Southampton, but then they're on an incredible run of form. So how do you get into that team? Moving on to one that has been linked and looks like isn't going to happen now. People have been asking about this morning, and everyone's kind of trying to figure out who's the second player that Daniel Farke was talking about yesterday. Farke said we had 2 players that looked like they were going to come into Leeds, but due to injuries, Leeds decided to pull the plug because there's no point in bringing a player in who's injured. Leeds need players to be in and on the ground, ready to go right now. Hashioka is the obvious first one. We knew he picked up an injury last week in his final game over in Belgium. Before he moved, Leeds opted not to sign the injured player and said he moved to Luton Town instead. Charlie Taylor didn't play last night for Burnley, wasn't in their matchday squad, and is currently out with a shoulder injury, not a hamstring injury, a shoulder injury. at the moment. So maybe Charlie Taylor was the second one. Maybe they did have a good look at Charlie Taylor. Maybe the fact that he is injured and won't be able to play straight away. How serious that shoulder injury is, I don't know. But he is currently out of the Burnley squad with a shoulder problem. So maybe he was the second player. That's a possibility as well. And then finally today, it's a rapid fire one. There's no point in hanging around today. This is going to change. I am going to timestamp this. We are at 9:45 in the morning, so I'm timestamping this now. So Chris Mepham was linked with Leeds very heavily. It didn't happen. There's reports coming out now as to why it didn't happen. And again, it's coming from Alex Crook as well. And basically on TalkSport, he has said that Leeds did bid for Chris Mepham from Bournemouth. There were some talks about this. Mepham, 26, is not playing a whole lot for Bournemouth at the moment and could have moved. However, it now appears that the 26-year-old isn't moving anywhere because Bournemouth have a series of injuries and are short on the ground on numbers and have decided that Chris Mepham is staying put for now because they need cover. And that's the main reason they have decided to keep Chris Mepham in their squad. So he won't be moving on loan to Leeds United in this window or anybody else by the looks of this in this window. There's no random shouts in here. There's no crazy kind of out of the blue ones that have come up just yet. It's pretty basic on the ground. Conor Roberts is the one that looks like Leeds will get done today. There might be a second one before the window closes tonight, but I think if we can definitely get it right back in, then we're in a decent position. You would like an extra body at left back for me. In an ideal world. I won't lose my mind if we only sign one today. It's important that we get at least a right back sorted. That's the most important thing. Club's in a good space. I've heard some wild takes from people around where we are at the moment, and because we haven't signed any players, some crazy shouts about the ownership and that as well, which is nuts because Leeds are unbeaten in 2024. In the league we've had 4 back-to-back wins, which is a record for the club. First time in the club's history that's ever been done. Daniel Farke has the same amount of points as Marcelo Bielsa had at this stage during the promotion campaign. Actually has a better goal difference than Bielsa had at that time. So, and has the second best win rate in the championship, second only to Marcelo Bielsa, hired by the ownership. And then you look at what the ownership are doing behind the scenes to try and make the club more credible and more professional. And some of the takes that people have on the ownership are wild, and absolutely born out of just frustration and anger, I have to believe, because I think they're doing a cracking job. Yes, this window's not perfect, but when you see what's coming up next year and what needs to be done, there's not a huge amount of movement in the window. I mean, Alcaraz is gone from Southampton. They bring in David Brooks and then they lose Alcaraz. So, they're not much stronger than they were before. Leicester brought in a player, but they've lost 2 players. So, indeed, he's out for a long period of time. The guy that was on loan from Chelsea's gone back to Chelsea. They brought in another player, but really nobody's really strengthened too much in this window, so it's a strange one. Anyway, listen, I'm going to leave you go. I'll be back tonight at 10 p.m. live. Keep an eye on the channel if you want to catch up. Any questions you've got about the window as well, we can do a Q&A at the end of that as well. We'll do all that. So I'll talk to you later on. Have a great day and see you then. Bye.